Pooh Shiesty, the man who turned the big BRR ad-lib into a global anthem, the face of the new 1017. The rapper who built an entire career on a persona of being cold, calculated, and, above all else, completely untouchable. But what happens when the cameras stop rolling, the designer masks come off, and the cold steel of the prison cell door slams shut? Lately, the whispers coming out of the USP Pollock aren't about new music or upcoming appeals. No, the rumors are much louder and much more damaging. Reports are surfacing that the man who claimed to be the ultimate street soldier is allegedly hiding. From claims of being tucked away in protective custody to rumors that he's avoiding the general population to escape the very lifestyle he rapped about, the Shiesty legacy is under fire. Is the Memphis legend really active behind bars? Or has the reality of a 5-year sentence forced him into a corner where he's forced to play it safe? Today, we're diving deep into the leak reports, the witness accounts from inside, and the shocking truth about what Pooh Shiesty is actually doing behind those walls. Is he the predator he claimed to be, or is he currently the prey? Stay tuned, because the paperwork and the street talk are finally clashing. And the results are not what you expected. To truly understand the gravity of these hiding allegations, we have to look at the pedestal Pooh Shiesty was sitting on before the feds knocked the legs out from under it. Lontrell Denell Williams Jr., known to the world as Pooh Shiesty, wasn't just another rapper from Memphis. He was a symbol. He represented a new, more aggressive era of the 1017 label under Gucci Mane. He wasn't just rapping about the trap or the streets. He was a personification of it. When he dropped Back in Blood, it wasn't just a song. It was a cultural shift. The masks, the big BRR ad-libs, the cold stares. It all painted a picture of a man who was ready for any smoke, anytime, anywhere. But the streets have a funny way of checking your receipts. For Shiesty, the receipt came in the form of a rented McLaren, a Louis Vuitton bag filled with $40,000, and a shooting in Bay Harbor Islands, Florida. That October 2020 incident was the beginning of the end for Shiesty's freedom. After months of legal battles and a mountain of federal evidence, including his own Instagram post that practically did the detectives' work for them, Shiesty pleaded guilty to a federal conspiracy charge. In April 2022, the judge handed down a 63-month sentence, 5 years. To some, it sounded like a light tap on the wrist compared to a life sentence. But in the federal system, 5 years is a lifetime when you have a target on your back. Transition: news clippings of the sentencing and photos of USP Pollock. Pooh Shiesty was sent to USP Pollock in Louisiana. For those who don't know, Pollock isn't a summer camp. It's a high-security United States penitentiary known for being one of the most volatile environments in the federal system. This is where the story starts to shift. In the world of hip-hop, Free Shiesty became the rallying cry. His team kept his Instagram active, posting photos of him looking healthy and straight, supposedly running the yard and keeping his head high. But while the official Shiesty page was showing one thing, the prison grapevine was whispering something entirely different. The first cracks in the untouchable persona appeared when reports began to surface that Shiesty wasn't exactly walking the yard with the same energy he had in his music videos. In the feds, your reputation precedes you. When you enter those gates as a tough guy, rapper who talks about crashing out and stepping, the other inmates, men who are doing 20, 30, or life, are going to test that mettle. They want to see if the big Shiesty they saw on YouTube is the same Lontrell they see in the cafeteria. Visual, social media comments, and leaked text screenshots. The exposed narrative began to catch fire when several vloggers and former inmates started claiming that Shiesty was tucked away. In prison lingo, being tucked or hiding usually means one of two things. Either you are in protective custody, PC, or you're staying in your cell to avoid the general population Gen Pop because there's a green light on your head. Why would there be a green light on Pooh Shiesty? It's simple: clout and debt. In a place like USP Pollock, a celebrity is a trophy. If a rival gang member or even a random inmate checks a famous rapper, their own status goes up instantly. But the rumors go deeper than just being a target. Some reports suggest that Shiesty's issues stem from his affiliations back in Memphis. The streets don't stop at the prison gate. The beefs that started in the 901 followed him all the way to Louisiana. The most damaging allegation? The claim that Pooh Shiesty is in special housing, or PC not because the guards put him there for his safety, but because he asked to be there. For a rapper who built his entire brand on being Shiesty and slimy, the idea of him seeking protection from the authorities is the ultimate betrayal of the code. It's the kind of stain that doesn't just ruin a career, it ruins a legacy. But we have to ask, is this just hate? In the age of the internet, anyone with a contraband phone in prison can make a video claiming a celebrity is scared. We've seen it happen to 6ix9ine, we've seen it happen to Casanova, and now it's happening to Shiesty. The difference is Shiesty's camp has been adamant that he is good on every yard. They release photos of him surrounded by other inmates, trying to prove he's still the alpha. But look closely at those photos. The skeptics say they're staged, controlled environments where he only interacts with people his team has cleared. Visual. Split screen of Shiesty's music video versus a bleak prison hallway. What's even more interesting is the silence from some of his former associates. In the rap game, when someone is solid, their brothers on the outside scream from the rooftops. But lately, the silence surrounding Shiesty's actual status inside Pollock has been deafening. Even his mentor, Gucci Mane, has been relatively quiet about the specific conditions Shiesty is facing. This silence fuels the fire. If the rumors weren't true, wouldn't there be more people coming forward to shut them down? As we peel back the layers of this story, we find a complex web of street politics. You have the Memphis Chopper Gang ties, the 1017 brand, and the federal informants who are always looking for a way to trade information. Some sources claim that Shiesty's exposed status is linked to paperwork that hasn't even hit the public yet. Allegations that he might be distancing himself from certain activities to ensure he actually makes a home in 5 years. And can you blame him? The federal system is designed to break you, but in the eyes of the streets, there is no middle ground. You are either a soldier or you're hiding. In this first part, we've looked at the transition from the top of the charts to the bottom of the food chain in USP Pollock. We've seen how the persona he sold to millions is being used against him in an environment where big BRR doesn't scare anyone. But the real exposure isn't just about where he's sleeping at night. It's about the checks that were allegedly issued to him and the way he responded. Was there a specific incident in the yard that forced him into hiding? Did Shiesty really have to pay for protection? And what do the official records say about his housing status? The deeper we dig, the more the untouchable mask begins to slip. This isn't just about a rapper in jail. It's about the death of a street legend in real time. If it was about the rumors, it's about the receipts, or at least what the prison grapevine calls receipts. In the federal system, there is one thing that can end a man's reputation faster than a bullet: paperwork. In the world of high-stakes federal inmates, paperwork refers to the legal documents that show whether an inmate has cooperated with the government or if they have been moved to protective custody for their own safety. Recently, several independent prison news channels and former inmates from USP Pollock have claimed that Pooh Shiesty's name is circulating in a way that no rapper wants. The allegation isn't just that he's hiding, it's that he has been checked. For those unfamiliar with the term, being checked means you're confronted by a higher-ranking member of a gang or a shot caller on the yard and told that you can no longer walk among the general population. Why would this happen to Shiesty? Sources claim it started with a check on his street credentials. In Memphis, Shiesty is a king. But in a federal pen in Louisiana, the locals and the various cars, prison factions, don't care about billboard hits. They care about respect and the code. The rumor mill suggests that a group of inmates confronted Shiesty regarding his past affiliations and certain social media posts he made before his incarceration. When the confrontation allegedly turned physical, the reports say Shiesty didn't crash out like his lyrics suggested. Instead, the narrative is that he sought the assistance of the CO's correctional officers to be moved to a safe zone. Visual. Close-up of Pooh Shiesty's leaked prison photos. Zoom in on his face and surroundings. Now, let's look at the evidence of the gram. Shiesty's team has been very strategic. Every few months, a new photo of Lantra drops. In these photos, he's often seen wearing a fresh prison uniform, rocking a beard, and looking significantly more muscular than when he went in. He's usually surrounded by 4 or 5 other men, all looking tough, all throwing up signs. The caption usually says something like, "The king is back, Shiesty good on every yard, big BRR." But if you ask the con bloggers, men who have spent decades in these facilities, they'll tell you those photos are classic smokescreen. They point out that these pictures are often taken in the visiting room or during recreation in a very controlled environment. They argue that you never see Shiesty in the main yard or the chow hall cafeteria, the two places where man's status is truly tested. In the chow hall, there are no cameras, no guards standing right over you, and that's where the vultures wait. The fact that Shiesty is never seen in these high-traffic areas has led many to believe he is in a special housing unit, SHU, or a dropout yard. Transition. Grainy footage of a prison yard and text overlays of extortion and clout. Then there is the issue of extortion. It is no secret that rappers in prison are viewed as ATM machines with jumpsuits on. There are allegations that Shiesty's safety isn't coming for free. Rumors have surfaced that his associates on the outside are allegedly putting money on the books of certain powerful inmates at Pollock to ensure Shiesty isn't touched. This is a double-edged sword. While it keeps him physically safe, in the eyes of the street code, paying for protection is the same as being soft. If you have to pay a man to not hurt you, you aren't a gangster, you're a victim. These allegations were further fueled by a leaked audio clip, supposedly of an inmate at the same facility, who claimed that Shiesty was tucked because he couldn't handle the pressure of the Memphis beef that had followed him inside. Remember, Shiesty is allegedly linked to the Choppa Gang, which has deep-seated rivalries. Those rivalries don't disappear just because you're behind federal bars. In fact, they intensify. If members of a rival faction are on the same yard, it's on sight. If Shiesty is avoiding that confrontation, the streets call it hiding. Visual. Screenshots of tweets and IG comments from other rappers or Memphis figures. The reaction from the industry has been telling. Notice who isn't speaking up. Usually, when a rapper is being slandered, his close friends and collaborators will go on live and shut it down. But for Shiesty, the support has been quiet. Aside from the occasional free Shiesty post, there hasn't been a strong defense of his toughness inside. Even more interesting is the silence from the Memphis scene. In a city where keeping it real is the only currency, the rumors of their biggest star tucking tail on the feds are a hard pill to swallow. But let's play devil's advocate. Is it possible that Shiesty is just being smart? He's young. He has millions of dollars waiting for him. He has a career that could resume the moment he walks out. Does it make sense for him to crash out and catch a new 20-year sentence just to prove he's real to a bunch of inmates he'll never see again? Some argue that Shiesty is simply playing the game. In the feds, the goal is to get home. If that means staying out of the way, avoiding the yard, and keeping a low profile, isn't that the smartest move? The problem is the brand. Pooh Shiesty didn't sell smart music. He sold Shiesty music. He sold the image of a man who would pull up and back it in blood. When your entire brand is built on being the aggressor, you don't get the luxury of being low profile. You are held to the standard you created for yourself. Visual. A dramatic montage of Shiesty's music videos versus the cold reality of a cell. As we move into the final part of this investigation, we have to look at the official responses. Shiesty's lawyers have consistently denied any claims of him being in protective custody for safety reasons, often citing administrative moves or COVID protocols as the reason for any isolation. But as the months turn into years, those excuses are wearing thin. The streets are demanding the truth. Is Lontrell Williams Jr. sitting comfortably in his cell, waiting for his release, or is he trapped in a nightmare where he's forced to hide from the very lifestyle he once celebrated? The exposed narrative is gaining momentum, and with every leaked photo and every inside source that comes forward, the big BRR is starting to sound more like a whisper. We've reached the end game. We've talked about the rumors, the visiting room photos, and the brutal politics of USP Pollock. But now, we have to look at the cold, hard reality of the situation. In the world of federal incarceration, there is no such thing as a secret. Eventually, the walls talk, the paperwork leaks, and the truth, no matter how buried, finds its way to the surface. The question we started with was simple. Is Pooh Shiesty hiding? To answer that, we have to look at the most recent leaks that have sent shockwaves through the Memphis rap scene and the 1017 fan base. Visual: fake/redacted document style graphics with the words SNY and protective custody highlighted. In recent months, certain paperwork has been circulating on forums and underground social media pages. While we have to be careful, because fake paperwork is a common tool used by trolls to ruin a rapper's name, the details in these reports are disturbingly specific. Some sources claim that Shiesty has been moved to what is known as an SNY yard, sensitive needs yard, or a soft yard. These are facilities designed for inmates who cannot survive in the general population, informants, high-profile celebrities, and those who have been checked by gangs. If this is true, it changes everything. For a rapper who once stood on top of a car in Memphis, surrounded by heavy artillery and masked men, to be sitting on a safe yard is the ultimate fall from grace. It's the difference between being the top Shiesty and being a ward of the state. But why would he be there? The inside sources say it wasn't just one incident, but a series of presses. When you are a multimillionaire rapper, you are a walking target for every crasher in the system who wants to make a name for himself. They say Shiesty was faced with choice: fight a war every single day in a chow hall, or take the safe route so he could ensure he makes it home to his millions. Visual: montage of Pooh Shiesty's music videos versus real prison footage/interviews of former inmates. But here's where the story gets even darker. There are whispers that the hiding isn't just physical, it's financial. And we touched on extortion, but the latest report suggests that the tax being paid for Shiesty's safety has reached astronomical levels. When a celebrity is tucked, they aren't just protected by the guards. They're often protected by a car or a gang that they have to pay. If the money stops, the protection stops. Is the 1017 star being bled dry just to keep his big BRR image alive on Instagram? This leads us to the psychological toll. Thing about the pressure Lontrell Williams Jr. is under. Every time his team posts a photo of him looking good in prison, he knows the truth. He knows that outside those visiting room doors, there are men who view him as nothing more than a mark. The contrast between his lyrics, where he talks about stepping and cranking, and his alleged reality of staying in his cell to avoid conflict, is a level of irony that would break most people. Transition: social media screenshots of 1090 Jake, DJ Academics, or other hip-hop commentators discussing the case. The industry's reaction has been a loud silence. When 6ix9ine snitched, the reaction was immediate and explosive. But with Shiesty, it's a slow burn. People are hesitant to call him out because of his deep ties to Gucci Mane and the 1017 legacy. But even Gucci Mane's support has shifted. While Gucci still screams free Shiesty, the focus has moved toward his new artists. It's as if the industry is already preparing for a world where Pooh Shiesty is no longer the street king he once was. And what happens when he gets out? This is the most important question. Rap history is filled with artists who went to jail as legends and came out as fakes. If the streets believe he spent his 5-year sentence hiding or in PC, his music will never hit the same. The Shiesty mask trend, the very thing that made him a global icon, will become a symbol of irony. You can't wear the mask of a predator if the world knows you were treated like prey. Visual: slow zoom into a photo of Pooh Shiesty looking out a prison window, or a somber shot of him in court. Let's look at the other side. Though, what if he isn't hiding? What if this is all a massive coordinated smear campaign by rivals who couldn't beat him on the charts, so they're trying to beat him on the yard? It's possible. In the age of digital warfare, clout is harvested by tearing down giants. If you can expose Pooh Shiesty, you get the views, you get the followers, and you get the satisfaction of seeing a king fall. Shiesty's most loyal fans argue that the lack of actual video evidence of him being pressed is proof that he's holding it down. They say that in a world of contraband phones, if someone had checked Shiesty, there would be a video of it. The fact that we haven't seen it might be his only saving grace. However, in the feds, the absence of evidence isn't always evidence of absence. Some things are kept off the cameras for a reason. Music, deep, cinematic, and slightly tragic tones. As we wrap up this investigation, the verdict remains divided. On one hand, you have a young man who was thrust into the highest level of fame and then dropped into the lowest level of hell. He's doing what he has to do to survive. On the other hand, you have a street legend whose entire brand was built on a level of toughness that he allegedly couldn't maintain when the cameras were off. Whether he's in the main yard or tucked in a cell, one thing is certain. The Pooh Shiesty who walked into USP Pollock is not the same man who will walk out. The feds have a way of stripping away the jewelry, the designer clothes, and ego, leaving only the man underneath. And if that man had to hide to survive, the streets may never forgive him. Visual. The words "the truth always comes out" appear on screen. Is Pooh Shiesty a victim of prison politics? Or did he sell us a lie from the very beginning? Is he hiding for his life? Or is he just playing the smartest game possible to get back to his family? The paperwork might be debated, the photos might be staged, but the streets always have the final say. Watch the comments below, because the people who really know, the ones who were on those yards, are starting to speak. And the story they're telling is one that the big BRR fans aren't going to like. Now that we've broken down the rumors, the paperwork, and the harsh reality of life inside USP Pollock, the final verdict doesn't rest with the feds or the vloggers. It rests with you. The hip-hop community is currently split down the middle. One side argues that Pooh Shiesty is simply being smart, protecting his life and his massive future, so he can return to the millions of dollars and the career waiting for him on the outside. They say there is no point in being a street soldier if it means never seeing the sun as a free man again. But the other side, the streets, claims that if you build a brand on crashing out and being untouchable, you have to stand by that code, even behind those coal iron bars. They argue that the big BRR persona was exposed the moment he allegedly stepped away from the general population. So, I want to hear from you. Is Pooh Shiesty still the king of Memphis, or has his legacy been permanently tarnished? Drop a comment below right now. If you're still rocking with the 1017 star, drop a snake or a big BRR in the chat. If you think the streets have officially closed the book on him, tell us why. If you enjoyed this deep dive investigation, make sure to hit that like button. It helps the algorithm show this to more people. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on all post notifications. You don't want to miss our next drop, where we'll be exposing the truth behind another major artist's legal battle. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.